In this video, I'm gonna share with you how to print a photography while you actually don't have a printer and need to print through an external printing company. We all wanted at some point in our photography career to print some of our work for exhibitions, for friends, for family, maybe for ourselves, or maybe even if you are selling some of your work to someone. And then that's the moment where all of our work really materializes because you go through the whole process of going out, photographing, like going on the computer, preparing your file, then usually sharing it on social media, or it depends on the people, of course, but that's kind of a common process nowadays. But printing a photograph really kind of materializes it and gives you really something concrete about it, and then that you can truly admire. So in this video, we are gonna go through the whole process of choosing a paper, choosing a printing company, preparing our file on the computer as well. And then I'm gonna also show you some prints that I have, that I received and that I haven't opened yet. And I wanna share them with you and hopefully admire the work that I have there. And I also want to apologize. You might hear my voice and my nose a little bit. It's Christmas time and I'm now like at family's place. And unfortunately, I was feeling a little bit sick and I did a COVID test and it actually got positive. So I am right now locked in a room for the next few days and making sure I don't pass it on to anyone. So yeah, I have plenty of time to create videos and also to work on my photographs. So anyways, we're going to continue this video and I'm going to share all you need to know about printing with an external printing company. The first step of printing something goes kind of without saying is choosing the picture you want to print. So I'm not sure if you're seeing it now, but the one I have on the screen is actually the one I'm going to present to you later on. And that's actually one of those I have for my example later on. And that's actually a big print. So I'm really excited about it and a little bit nervous as well. Hopefully it came out well. And when you choose this picture, you really need to have something that really inspires you, that have great colors, hopefully, and that you would be proud to hang on a wall, to sell to someone, to offer to family, that would maybe mean something to them, maybe mean something to you, and that's like really something you need to take into consideration. Don't just try to print anything. I mean, printing, especially through an external company, is kind of expensive, so you would like to make sure you choose the right print for that. But of course, that's very subjective and that's totally up to you. So make sure you choose the right print for your work. The second thing you need to ensure to do is to choose the right paper and the right printing company. So these are kind of category 2 and 3 and they go hand in hand because sometimes a certain company will have certain papers and so on. So you need to make sure you have both of them. So I will start with choosing the right printing company in this example here. So I personally like to choose a local company, and that's my own preference. Of course, you can always go for the big ones like whatever. There's like Whitewall, there is CV, there is Sal Digital. Like they're all well-known name. I mean, I don't need to present them anymore, I guess. And for me, going local has various advantages, and that also makes my conscience feel good because I provide work to people who are like close to me on my territory and who are like probably dedicated to their job. They're like small companies, so they actually care about their customers maybe more than bigger companies. And so for me, that's something really important. But it also gives me a lot of advantages, and that's where it overlaps where choosing the paper, well, how to choose the paper. It's, for example, I work with this French company, which is called Impression Panoramique. So I'll put a link in the description below so that you guys can see it. Of course, that won't be very useful if you are like in another country than France, but that's just to give you the example. I would call them to ask them, well, I have some prints. These are like landscape photography. They are a little bit dark, a little bit of colors. I mean, they kind of know what you mean when you explain them what you have on your picture, and then they will guide you. They know their work. It's what they do, and they are specialists, so they would really like guide you to the right paper for your print. And for me, they recommended me the Hannenmüller um, fine art barita satin. I guess I'm right. And this is actually a very great paper that has like very tiny structure in it, and also a little bit of brightness because it's satin. And this paper just like gives it all to me. It's just like provides me a great result. Before I was using Hannenmüller photo rag, and that was a little bit more matte, a lot of structure, and I felt like something was missing in my pictures. It looks great, but it looks a little bit weird as well, like not so natural, not so shiny, and I like this tiny shiny aspect that the satin gives. And that's my own preference, but they recommended me this paper, and since then I just can't print with any other papers than that one. So yeah, that's the first thing. Another thing that was very helpful is I printed, and that's the one I'm going to show you later on, like a picture which is 120 by 80 centimeters, which is fairly big to be honest. And I wanted to make sure that the print will be in good enough quality so that I can present it and hang it somewhere. And I called them and I asked them, and they told me, well, send me your file and we're gonna check it if it's okay for this size. So I did it, and within 10 minutes they replied to me, that's okay, your file will be printed in good quality. This is something that I'm not sure you would get with a larger printing company. And so for me, having this type of service, it gives really a true added value, and that's really like pushes me to work with them. And the prices are not especially higher than other companies, so why should I bother? Maybe a delivering fee are a little bit higher, but since I get the like the good service on the other hand, then I'm going with them, and I have like kind of a more personalized, sorry, experience. So these are the few things that you need to consider when you choose your paper and when you choose your printing company. Then now I'm going to show you how to deal with preparing your file before sending it for print. Before we go on the laptop, you really need to make sure of few things before you start preparing your file for printing. And the first thing is making sure your screen is calibrated. So for this, you can buy a small device that will help you calibrate your screen. So I don't have it here with me, unfortunately, but before printing, I used it, and I'm gonna put a picture of one of them here. I'm using a Spider 5.0, something like this, I guess. And it's really helpful because it helps you really calibrate and have the right colors on your screen, and making sure that when you will pass on your file to the printing company, you will have accurate colors and you won't have to ask them to do any work on your file. So for me, that's something very useful, especially if you're printing quite a bit. That can be very handy to have this kind of device and not being disappointed about the final result of your print. So yeah, just get one of them. Then another thing you need to consider when you're printing is getting your screen dimmed. So you want to make sure that there is a little bit of light, of course, but don't put the brightness to the top. So I'm using a MacBook Pro, and on this one I'm using like between 3 and 5 dots when using the lightening of the screen, and I guess like about 4 or 5 is the right the right place. And really, because your paper is not backlit, is like really a paper, like natural paper. So when you have a print on it, you want to make sure that it's not too dark. And if you treat your picture, if you process your picture on a bright screen, then you will tend to not increase the shadows and so on. And when you will receive your file, it will be like very dark. It happened to me in the past, and I was like fairly disappointed and didn't really understand, okay, what did I do wrong? My file looked good, but yeah, it looked good on a bright screen, not on a dim screen. So yeah, make sure you really use the low light on your screen, whatever device you're using. That's extremely important. So now I'm going to move on the laptop, and we're going to take a look at how to process the images. In this example, I am using Lightroom to prepare my file. And actually, the process is the same if you are using Capture One or Luminar, for example. The process will be the same, and you will be able to prepare your file the same way. But for this example, I will be working on Lightroom. So the first thing you want to do is to go in the Develop module, which is on the top banner here, and choose your file. So as I said before, this is the file I chose for my prints, the one I will be showing you later on. And as you can see here, it looks fairly bright, and it looks great like this. But if I like lower the light from my screen, then it suddenly like looks very dark. So I want to make sure that I recover enough of the light, of the shadows and everything, so that the file looks workable. So let's raise this a little bit for now. The first thing we want to do is to go to the soft proofing. Basically, the soft proofing will help you to get the rendering of your paper on your screen. And for this, you will have a small box that opens up on the right-hand side of your screen here in Lightroom, where you can choose your profile. The profile is the rendering of your paper. So you usually find those profiles, those ICC profiles, on the website of the printing company or on the website of the paper company itself. So either way, you will find it. In my case, I found it on the website of the printing company. As you can see, it's Fine Art Barita Satin. So I have it imported here, but otherwise you go in Other and you select the paper you downloaded, and then you would have it here. And just to show you the difference, then here is the screen profile, sRGB, and the paper profile is a little bit less contrasted and a little bit less saturated as well. So once I have this base profile, I will create a proof copy on which I will work to create my final file. And to start doing this, I will lower the light, and hopefully you see it, because I guess that would be a great example here. The first thing I would do is to just start raising the exposure a little bit, like maybe 0.15 would be good. I would raise a little bit the shadows to recover the darks, especially in this area and on the foreground, maybe a little bit in the sky as well. And for this, I would raise as well a little bit the blacks. And then once I have raised all of this, I want to add a little bit more contrast in my pictures, because it lost a little bit of contrast by increasing those few sliders. So I would add a little bit of contrast here, a little bit of white, maybe decrease a little bit the highlights, so that the white part of the water here that you can see is not blown out. And I would raise a little bit the clarity, so that again a little bit more of structure on the foreground here in the water and on the stones. And maybe why not increasing a little bit the vibrance. And I guess that's pretty much it. And I will show you the before and after. So this is the original file that I have that looked great when the screen was with a good brightness. And that's how it looks afterwards. So I could still probably raise a little bit the contrast and so on, but and do it a bit more perfectly. But for the sake of this example, that will be sufficient. And you can see here that it pops even when the screen is dimmed. So that's fairly great here. And then the next step is to export it before to put it in to send it to the printing company. When you export, you would choose all the basic stuff like name of the file and so on. You can export it in JPEG. Some people say, well, I just do it in TIFF. And the truth is that once I spoke with someone from a printing company, and this guy told me, well, you know, many times we receive TIFFs and then we convert them to JPEG because the printers we use, they don't accept TIFF. So in the end, your printed file is just a JPEG. So I believe that using a better JPEG, a high quality JPEG, will work just as fine as using a TIFF. So don't worry too much about this. Then you would go and put like 300 pixel per inch or dot per inch. It's exactly the same, DPI. And you will not add any sharpening, because that doesn't really make sense. Your file normally is all ready for that. And that's pretty much it. Then you can export it, and your file will be, as you see it on the screen, once exported. So you will have the profile of the paper. So it's gonna look just great when it will be on the selected paper. Once you're at this stage, you normally have all your file ready and you can send it to the printing company and print your prints. But there is maybe one more step you want to consider, is which on which format will you print? Will you print directly on a print that you will put in a frame? Will you print on alu debond? Will you print under acrylic glass? All of these are questions that might arise at some point. So I would recommend, I would not recommend anything, actually, to be honest. I will just say that if you go with printing on a paper, so you would have to follow this process and you would have to prepare your file so that it looks great. You would have to do exactly the same if you go on alu debond, because this is just an aluminum sheet where they stick the print on it, and it's all rigid. It all looks good and very professional. So I can only recommend you to use this one, but it's a lot more costly. And consider as well the size of your prints. If you want to print something very big, you might not be able to find a frame for your print unless it's handcraft or something like that. Then that will also come at a very high cost. And you can also print under acrylic glass. I've never used it, and there are like two versions here. Acrylic glass with direct printing. I'm not sure how it looks. Apparently it looks good, but who knows. And acrylic glass above a print that then makes the print pops and the like more depth and all of this in the print. So apparently it's great. Never tried it by myself. So that's pretty much it here. I guess we're gonna go now for the printing example, and I'm really keeping fingers crossed because I really hope it looks great. So let's check this out. Just a quick reminder, in case you like the content I'm producing, the video I'm sharing, the tips I'm sharing, the pictures I'm showing you, then feel free to subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button below or in the corner of this video. That would be really amazing. That's supporting me. That's great. And if you like this video in particular, then feel free to give me a thumbs up. That would be really amazing. And that supports my content. That's pushing it up a little bit. So that would be really appreciated. So thank you very much for that. And let's continue this video. All right, there we are. So you might hear me a little different because I put my wireless microphone. That's the print. These are the prints. As you can see, I put them on the bed because it's fairly big. The biggest one in there is 120 centimeters by 80 centimeters with an American frame. So it's supposed to give a floating effect, but to be honest, I have no clue how it will really look like. So I'm gonna open this and we're gonna check this out. I'm really excited, guys. So let's check this out. Okay, so first of all, kudos, that seems to be very well packed. I do have the print here. This is the main one. And this is fairly big. And that looks fairly good. I have all the other prints at the bottom, so I'm just gonna remove that one. I'm really excited. Woo! Really excited. That's an alu debond with an American frame. And there we go. And there we go. And oh man. Oh man. And that's it. Oh man, that seems to look like amazing. I'm so excited. That's beautiful. And that's massive, but that's beautiful. Oh man. And that's what I was telling you, like just getting your stuff printed and just put it on a frame or whatever, it just like looks fantastic. Oh, I need to look at it like with a little more time by myself. I'm really excited. I'm really emotional about it. And that's really cool. So yeah, that's it. That's how you look at it, and that's what you have when you get your print. And to be frank, the detail seems to be here. The colors are great. I guess you can see it's a little bit satin, so you can see there's a little bit of reflection, but not too much. And therefore, that's really great for expositions or whatever. It's just wonderful. I'm really excited. So yeah. So guys, I hope that you really enjoyed this video and that you learned something. that this felt comfortable and that really I taught you a lot of stuff. And yeah, with that, I hope that you're gonna make good photographies during this Christmas time, that you're gonna enjoy your time with your family, and that you're gonna have a lot of fun. And with that, I wish you good luck with your photography and see you next week for new adventures.